Good afternoon and good morning, everybody. Thank you very much for joining for another event in the series organized by TTA and ETSI with the support of European and Korean institutions in the context of the Indico project. Today, we are going to talk about the future. We have in our role as standard organizations, as policymakers, the duty to think about what comes next. And even though we are today still busy working on the rollout of 5G, the fine-tuning of what standards define this technology, we also have to start thinking about what comes next. And this is the topic of today's interaction. So we have gathered a very interesting panel of participants today, speakers from Europe and Korea. And I hope this will be a very interesting session to explore this new topic. Without further ado, I will give the floor to our two hosts for today, Mr. Luis Romero from ETSI and Mr. Casey Koo from TTA. And then we will follow up with keynote addresses from Mr. David Ringrose, Deputy Director and Head of International Affairs at DG Connect in the European Commission, as well as Mr. Jae-Jin Soo, who's Director of the Network Policy Division at MSIT. So, Luis, if you're ready, I will give you the floor now.
Thank you very much, Xavier, and thank you everybody for being here today. My name is Luis Romero. I'm ETSI's Director General, and it's a pleasure to welcome you to this workshop, as Xavier was saying, on Beyond 5G. And let me also take this opportunity to thank my good friend Casey Koo for working with us in this event and a series of events that we've been having in this cooperation between India and the EU, which will bring great results, I'm sure of. Our story of cooperation dates very long, TTA and ETSI, and I think this is just a demonstration how things will keep on going. As Xavier was saying, today it's about talking about the future. It's seeing what's beyond 5G. And probably this is the place where we see standards and research meeting each other. We will hear the vision that we probably are already sharing, but we will put again on the table how we see 5G from the Korean perspective, from the EU perspective, and we'll try to build up on cooperation. There are many research projects ongoing, I know, in both places, and many of those projects are already landing in the standards world. There, as I was saying, we have a long story of cooperation with between ETSI and TTA. That probably the most relevant project that we could see as being this cooperation is 3GPP. So we will probably have references to 3GPP and how 3GPP is already looking at the standardization on beyond 5G and beyond 5G. So I expect this to be an excellent workshop as usual, and that it will further foster and solidify the good cooperation that's always been between TTA, ETSI, and of course between Korea and the EU in a more general term. So thank you very much again, and I would like to hand back the floor to Xavier. Thank you.
Very much, Luis, and I will now give the floor to Casey in order to also give some words of welcome.
My name is Kyung-chul from TTA. Thank you very much for joining this workshop. It's very wonderful workshop. Actually, we are together with some hotel conference, so please be understanding of the wearing the mask during the conference. But I just for a moment I take off my mask. Anyway, distinguished Mr. David Ringrose. My pronunciation is good, but I don't know. But anyway, thank you very much for joining the meeting. And my long friend, Luis Jorge Romero, he already said that we together with the long cooperation with the any area, focusing area. I was very expressed your word beyond the 5G. Anyway, thank you very much. And first of all, personally, I am very happy that we hold the second EU-Korea cooperation workshop. As you know, after the first workshop on smart city and IoT security in April of this year, and actually, it is extremely meaningful that this fostering cooperation is the outcome and follow-up events from first the EU and South Korea high-level policy dialogue on the digital economy via video conference in November last year. However, even so, this wouldn't be possible without the initiative of Indico project. So I'm very grateful to DG Connect over the EC and EDGE for that indeed. Taking this opportunity, I would like to express my sincere thanks to all of you for your effort and the hard work to continue to EU-Korea cooperation through the TTA and EDGE workshop. Although, as you know, the COVID-19 situation is still standing in our way, but I strongly believe it will get better soon, and we will be able to meet and talk face-to-face meeting in the near future. Speaking about our today's subject, beyond the 5G, as you already know, many countries have already announced the policies and strategy on beyond the 5G, and each related company has also shared their views, visions, and the requirements on the next generation of mobile network. This is actually following the great success in the 5G commercial services and standardization. As you know, in their white paper, there are a number of commonality and similarity on use cases, key capabilities, and enabling technologies, such as terahertz communication, artificial intelligence, and embedded strong security, and so on. Actually, from a standardization perspective, I2R Working Party 5D recently launched its 6G Vision Group, and 3GPP will also have a release 18 workshop at this month to start your work on 5G advanced. So I believe this is a perfect time to share vision from each side and discuss next step and cooperation. Finally, to all speakers and the panelists, thank you very much for participating and taking your time to be present here in today's workshop. I look forward to your insightful presentation and discussion. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Casey, for these nice words. Now I would like to give the floor to Mr. David Ringrose. David, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Xavier. Thank you, everybody, and good morning, good afternoon. It's a pleasure to be here in the presence of so many distinguished experts to discuss an important topic for our common future. I was very happy when we held the first EU Republic of Korea high-level policy dialogue in November last year. Unfortunately, like today, it was held by video conference, and we very much hope that either this year or early next year we can hold the next one together in the same room. But I think it's a testament to the importance of digital that we can still carry on. We can still carry on discussing now, despite the fact that we're in different places. I think the dialogue last year demonstrated that the EU and the Republic of Korea have a convergent approach on digital policies. We have a common vision for 6G and for connectivity and data infrastructures. It was very significant that on the day of the dialogue, we announced cooperation between the Republic of Korea and the European Union on supercomputing for clinical trials for COVID. And this was, I think, an indication of our shared commitment to using digital tools for the benefit of our citizens, and obviously something we'd be very happy to continue. In the dialogue, we agreed to follow up with a number of workshops on issues like platforms, artificial intelligence, connected cars, smart cities, and of course on standardization for 5G and 6G that we're talking about today. So I'm very glad to see that we're now moving ahead with implementing the conclusions of the dialogue. It's important, of course, to recognize that while 5G is being rolled out now, it was not a given that we would have global standards. And there were a lot of question marks over whether standards were to be developed, and there were different views and so on. And it was finally achieved so that everybody can benefit from 5G, even if it's a lot of things have changed along the way. So the question, of course, is where do we go now? And like everybody else in the world, the EU is now putting a lot of effort and funding into research and development. We've recently launched a public-private partnership under Horizon Europe called Smart Networks and Services. And our ambition is to continue our collaboration with partners such as Korea towards a common global vision with industry and partner countries. So I'd like to thank our respective standardization organizations, to ETSI and TTA, as well as the Indico project, who've done such great work here and in other parts of the world, of course. And it's a good opportunity to discuss how we move forward. I think we already know that 6G will encapsulate lots of different technologies, IoT, cloud, edge, and so on. So I think it's important that we discuss how we can fine-tune our ideas, how we bring in all of the various use cases, how do we work on increasingly important issues like energy efficiency and so on. It'll be important to look at how we can integrate Open RAN, around which there's still a lot of questions on security and also on energy efficiency. Yeah? We're interested in O-RAN, of course. There's a lot of European company participation, but we don't think it will be just for 6G. Yeah? The benefits of integrated solutions for networks, softwareization, cloudification, and so on are all there, but we also need to see how we can embed energy efficiency and security at the heart of the networks. So there's a lot of questions, and I'm very glad to be asked to open this seminar today together with colleagues from Europe and from Korea. And I look forward to a lot of good interaction and exchanges, and wish you a successful seminar. So thank you very much from Brussels. Thank you.
Thank you, David. And now I will give the floor to Mr. Jae-jin So from MSIT.
Hello, I am Jae-jin So, Director of the Innovation Network Team at the Ministry of Science and ICT. I'm very pleased to hold a workshop with you under the theme of Beyond 5G through this International Digital Cooperation Program. It would have been much better if we could hold this event offline and meet each other face-to-face. But still, I hope this event offers us great opportunity to share our vision and boost tighter relationship. The Korean government announced Digital New Deal policy last July. It was to overcome the crisis of COVID-19 with ICT technology and to accelerate the transition to the digital economy. As part of that, we are trying to expand the nationwide 5G coverage since it is the driving force and the core foundation of digital economy. Korean government is planning to increase 5G accessibility in suburban areas that has low population density to reduce the gap between urban and rural areas. To achieve this goal, we cooperate with service providers to jointly establish base station network in those areas. In addition, Korean government is preparing local 5G policy that can be operated by industries or local service providers within a specific area and will implement it later this year. This year will be the first year for the 6G development of Korea. We are starting to develop 6G core technology and actively participate in the international standardization activities while consolidating global cooperation with many countries. First off, Korea will develop 6G core technologies. After discussing with professionals from industries, academia, and institutes about core technologies, MSIT have identified 6 major promotion fields. As you can see, the 6 major fields are classified into hyper-performance, hyper-bandwidth, hyperspace, hyper-precision, hyper-intelligence, and hyper-trust. To secure technology development, Korean government will invest a total amount of 17.9 billion won this year. Since this year is the starting point of 6G R&D, MSIT is planning to focus on identifying elemental technologies of each core technologies. Korean government also fosters standard specialists in mobile communication fields and will endeavor to contribute to beyond 5G international standardization work. Recently, Korea has led the new creation of IMT Vision Sub-Working Group of ITU-R Working Party 5D. In addition, specialists from Samsung Electronics elected as the chairman of 3GPP RAN 1 Working Group, which will discuss the evolved 5G technology standards. It is expected that a 10-year journey of international 6G standardization is to begin in earnest on June at the meeting of IMT Vision Sub-Working Group since they kicked off on March this year. Following things will be discussed in this working group, such as megatrends including user and application trends and spectrum implication, evolution and role of IMT, usage scenarios, core performance definitions, overall framework and objectives toward IMT 2030 and beyond. Korean government also plans to provide the optimum R&D direction to researchers and industry specialists to strategize for existing patents, reduce R&D period and cost based on the cooperation between the MSIT and the Korean Intellectual Property Office. Korea also plans to consolidate cooperation with overseas countries preparing beyond 5G. Previously, our government and EU has retained a close cooperative relationship, such as implementing joint research, even before regularizing 5G standardization, and we are looking forward to expanding the results to 6G. Since the standardization is based on international consensus and cooperation, future cooperation with EU is very important to Korea. Starting from today's event, I deeply hope EU and Korea could discover common interests and boost our closer partnership. I look forward to meeting you all offline later. Thank you so much for listening to my presentation and hope you have meaningful conference today. Thank you.